Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today we're in China, we're at DBF1. This is round, I don't actually know, of the championship. As we come over to do our first lap, we validated it straight away. So that was, yeah, one set of tyres out of the way. We come over to our second lap, it was a 39, which wasn't really the best. Yeah, that was purely just our banker lap, so we had one more lap in the end to do it. Let's see if we go straight to this now. We did set a purple sector 2. I don't really believe that. This game's out where it's there. Yeah, it's very broken. But this was, yeah, our only really decent lap. We obviously validated the first one before we even got onto it. The second one was purely just the banker, making sure we had the time on the board.
We're expecting the rain to hit us any time now. Dries seem like the fastest tyre at the moment.
And then, yeah, on top of that we had the rain coming, so we couldn't go out any later in the session either to try and bag a bit of slipstream. It was purely just get out, because towards the end of the session it did actually start raining. Quite a few people's laps did get ruined. But we come around the final corner now, making sure we stay within the track limits this time. And we improved by 8 tenths in the end. It was a 31. I still wasn't really that happy with that lap. We could have had a 29.8. I think Pete Quint had a 29.9, Jeff just saying there. So yeah, I wasn't best pleased with that qualifying session, but as you can see there is a massive field spread. Not really too many people setting laps either. There was quite a few fast people at the back like Cam, who didn't actually set a lap, but we just go on to the strategy page now. A bit like Jacko Car, this is a 2-stop mandatory, so I was just fiddling around. Yeah, like I said, in this league there's a big field spread, so I can mess around with the strategy, see what works, see what doesn't for other leagues, or next season in this. So originally we were going to go soft medium, tyre wear being quite high here, but yeah, we go to the 5 red lights now, starting P3 outside into turn 1. And yeah, we get a relatively good start. Pete on the side there just jumping about a little bit, so I didn't really want to get too close. We got Paul trying to go up our inside. We managed to cover that one off. And if you look in the rear mirror now, we have an Alfa Romeo absolutely ruining that Williams. I think that was ART whiteout in that Williams. He just got sent off to Narnia. But we managed to come out of this P3 where we started. See Cam in the background, he made up a few places. He's been quite consistent in this league so far, won a few races. Won last week in Vietnam, as you may have seen on my channel. But yeah, we've got a bit of a gap ahead, bit of a gap behind. We were sort of in no man's land at this point. I wasn't really complaining too much. I was more looking at the tyres, because the tyres were wearing quite a lot in this race compared to other races I've done around here. Obviously TGP last week, that was only 25%, so the tyre wear doesn't really come into it. And BSL, which was a few weeks ago, we used a different setup, but I just wanted to go for a more aggressive setup, see if we could gain a bit of time. You see Pete goes for an interesting line there, through the left-hand, the tight left-hand there. We get a kick of oversteer, that's going to ruin our run all the way down this straight now. I was, again, just like in TGP last week, even though that was on a different setup, just struggling to get the power on down the straight. Everyone else seemed to have just that little bit more. Yeah, more like top speed. I don't know if that's my wing. I might be running a bit more wing than everyone else just to make sure I get through that S section. But yeah, we come up to finish that one. No damage done to the car. Pete jumping around a bit again in front. I was slightly concerned at this point in the race. I didn't want to get too close in case he did, jump back. There's nothing he could do, but it could end up losing my wing or my wheel or whatever, and that's going to ruin my race. So we move on now to lap 3. Obviously we've got that DRS now, just getting a little bit of a kick of an oversteer there, not as much as on the first lap. We're just trying to make sure we get that power down early in case we come in the threat from behind. Yeah, but like I said, we've got that DRS. We're going to check it with Jeff.
Less than a second. They're on old softs. Their tyres are 2 laps old. The time last lap was a 1:34.8. You're falling back by 1/10 a lap. Okay, the gap behind is 1.0 seconds. They're on old softs. Their tyres are 2 laps old. The time last lap was a 1:35.1.
So yeah, Jeff just giving us a bit of an update, but in that, Pete and Paul, one in front, one behind, actually pit, which I thought was a bit too early really, but it has put us in a position where we can see Massa behind us. Jeff is yet again giving us an update. I'm not really too sure on who there though. So yeah, Massa from the back, I think he crashed in qualifying. He is on the mediums, he started on the mediums, making a bit of a charge for the field. So at this point I was expecting him to do medium, soft medium. I didn't really think about that too much at the time, as we have 2 more pit there. That was Quinton who was in front, Cam behind, so I was just going to try and run these tyres a bit more. Again, I was just messing around with the strategy really, and as you can see now we're going to come into the pits. We're going to go for a set of softs. Unfortunately they are used, we used them in qualifying, so there's not really a massive amount of wear on them. But yeah, Mata now is going to take the lead from near enough the back. Yeah, he's still got to do 2 stops. We're on one of ours now, so we should in the end come out ahead of him. And yeah, your Cody's 2.6 seconds stop there. We've got about 7%, I think I've seen, on the front left there. The front left does take quite a beating in turns of 1 and 2 here. And then as well, that long right-hander that I'm struggling with the traction. But you see, as we come out now, we are actually ahead of Cam and Quinton, who, yeah, so Quinton has been jumped by Cam, I think, unless Cam overtook him. And we've jumped a pair of them, so they must have had a little battle somewhere. But as you can see, they're on the mediums, so at this point I was pretty sure they were doing soft, medium, medium, and if not, if they could run those mediums for long enough, go soft, medium, soft. But unless you're on fresh tyres, you find that on this stint it really wasn't worth it. So yeah, we're just going to try and pull that gap away from Cam at this point. The softs already felt a bit ropey, which wasn't really the best considering I'd done no more than 8 corners on them. Compared to the mediums, which seems to be a much better race tyre in this race. So that's definitely something that I was able to take from this race for other races around China. But we're coming up to that DRS straight again now. We've set a purple sector 2, Cam within our DRS behind. We've got Murdoch up ahead, who was the culprit of that turn 1 and 2 incident where he wiped out the Williams in our rear view mirror, which actually allowed Cam to get in this position. If not, I think he would have got held up a little bit more. Chances are he would have probably caught, but yeah, Cam not really gaining down here. I'm not really too sure why. He's clearly struggling to get the traction down more than me, which is definitely something good because I was able to, even if he was in my DRS, just able to pull away a bit. But you see Murdoch now goes into the pits. We actually pick up DRS from him. So I was just trying to make sure that we could possibly get out of Cam's DRS behind. Obviously we need to have that magic second. We do manage to get that, but yeah, I'm expecting him to get back in that quite quickly, purely just because his tyres are so much better. You see, yeah, he's setting fastest lap after fastest lap. We actually did have it for no more than a tenth of a second. But yeah, Jeff just trying to get us to burn a bit of fuel there. I wasn't really wanting to in these long corners. It was starting to burn the tyres out, and as well, chances are you'll probably end up spinning. So yeah, Cam's now going to come up for that charge. He wasn't expecting this for a few laps. Those tyres now much better than mine. He's just going to DRS past us. We're going to sit in this slipstream, just see what he does, and yeah, he's miles ahead before the corner even. So I was just trying to hope that maybe he could pull me along. We've got 3.4 seconds behind Quinton. Quinton also, yeah, he's quite quick in this lead. So I was just trying to make sure that I could really get ahead of Quinton at this point, pull away. We actually do pick up the DRS off Cam. And yeah, Jeff Tyler's we're going to be going on the mediums, and I wasn't really too sure about that one at this point. I was looking at Matt's tyres especially, see how long he went. He's still on his first set of tyres, I believe. So yeah, I was more or less just watching what he was doing in this race, hence why I wanted to be up the front, so I could see, when he pitted, what he was doing, if I was gaining time or anything, just see how much life he actually had in them tyres. Obviously, he didn't qualify on them, but he sat in a lot of dirt, yeah, which I was expecting to do through this race. But yeah, eventually we do make the call at the end of this lap. In fact, we lost so much time to Cam. I thought I'd throw it in the pits, and we're going to put on a set of hard tyres to the end. So I was expecting a lot of people to do soft, medium, medium. That now wasn't an option for us. We had to do either soft, soft, medium, which wasn't going to work, or soft, soft, hard, which we go for. Yeah, it's still a long way to the end, just over half the race to go. But I was hoping, fingers crossed, that medium runners burnt out their tyres in battles or whatever, and yeah, we're going to come out in a reasonably good position here. See, we are yeah, just behind Dexter and Iceman, who are in their own little battle. They're on the mediums, so I didn't know how long they'd actually been on them, but I knew that they still had stops to take. So it was either we were going to catch them quite quickly, or we were going to pass them in the pits anyway. I was expecting them to pit within these next few laps. As you see, coming up to the end of that lap, Dexter, I'm not really too sure what happened with him. He just seems to lock up, and you'll see up ahead, Iceman now throwing it into the pits. We've now managed to pick up the DRS from Dexter, which is definitely useful, so thanks for that, Dexter. But yeah, we're literally using everything the car's got. Trying to send one up the inside into turn 1 usually works out quite well. And yeah, Dexter just slots in behind us. I really didn't want to sit behind him for too long. It was damaging my tyres, damaging my pace. And ultimately I couldn't afford it, because if I wanted to try and keep with Cam and whoever the other car was now, I've totally forgot. Yeah, I had to make sure that I was up there for when their tyres do drop off, or if they do get a penalty, then I can definitely catch on them. But yeah, so we're going to move on a little bit further now. This is where we've got some pit stops starting to come into action. So we've got Trilson now just entering the pit lane. He's on mediums, probably going on to another set of mediums to the end. And I was expecting a lot of the cars to do that. So we come over again over the line, go on to lap 17. We've got Quinton and Cam in the pit lane. We're going to slot into that gap. That car going through turn 1 and 2 just behind that sponsor board, that is Cam. He's on a fresh set of mediums. He's got 11 laps to do on said tyres. He's 2 seconds ahead of me. So I'm within that penalty window as we go through to that my AI teammate. And we've got 4.7 behind to Quinton. And yeah, I was just checking Jeff. I don't know what he's took, but it's not right because he's definitely not 19 seconds ahead. But yeah, no penalties for him at the moment. Jeff just saying 5 now for some reason. And Cam now behind. I'm pretty sure he had a bit of a moment at that long right-hander going onto the straight. Yeah, he was struggling for traction along with me really. It looked like he just sort of lost it, and now he's behind. He had something like 4 seconds to gain, and he gained that quite quickly. You see, he's second fastest lap there, but I wasn't really planning on holding him up at this point. I knew I was on the worst strategy. Yeah, I was just expecting to blast past down that DRS, given that he doesn't spin there. But yeah, we have a little bit of a moment there. Tyres starting to become a little bit ropey, but yeah, I was comfortable that they get to the end. You see now Cam actually coming past. We're still using Rich Mix. I still wanted to, you know, gain that DRS down that straight. You see here, I thought there was a little bit of a gap. Even after the race, I thought there was a little bit of a gap. Looking back, there really wasn't. I was trying to give myself a deep entrance to try and get the power out the exit so I didn't lose too much time to the car behind. That car behind now, also coming past, he's on those mediums. And yeah, from now on, really, we sort of stick with Quinton now. Cam 1.5, 1.6 seconds up the road. He was sort of in that clean air now. I was just trying to stick with Quinton, sorry, up ahead. Who, yeah, I was just trying to stick with his DRS, making sure I don't lose the 8.4 to Paul. My bigger concern was actually using the pit lane now, which should matter. He's done both his medium stints. He's now going on to softs, as you can see now, moving up to the last lap of the race. He was on a charge towards the end of this race, as you can imagine. You know, I'm on worn old hards. He was on fresh softs. I was quite concerned that he might end up catching me. But yeah, in the end, he didn't really manage to do it. I think the gap was quite big. Yeah, he just sort of ran out of laps, but a few, maybe 3-4 laps, I think he would have got quite close, as we get a bit of a slide there, just pushing it right up to the line. I wasn't really too sure about penalties up ahead. See, Cam wins the race again, yeah, he did have a penalty in the end, but we ended up being a second off, and ultimately, if we did manage to pass him, Quinton would have won anyway, because he didn't have any penalties. But another podium again for us. It was a pretty decent result. And yeah, we move on now to TGP in the next 2 days, which will be the Dutch Grand Prix and the Spanish Grand Prix, which will come out tomorrow and the day after. So thank you for watching. If you did enjoy, please do give it a like, subscribe as well, it does help out. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.